Joe, the Josh Heupel Bowl, round 2 is underway this weekend as Tennessee takes on the Oklahoma Sooners. Oklahoma coming off of a loss to Ole Miss. Tennessee looking to rebound after the Alabama game here. When you look at Tennessee versus Oklahoma, how do you see it going down?
Blake, I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to get duped by Oklahoma. I did it last week, and I'm not going to do it again this week. Because, Blake, here's the truth about Oklahoma. They defensively had not been challenged by an offense that was good enough. And I completely overlooked that. And I refused to acknowledge it. And when they faced off with an Ole Miss team that had an explosive offense with a deep passing attack, they gave up big play after big play after big play. Mm-hmm. What are they facing this week? A team with a mobile quarterback who loves to take deep shots with an elite receiver room. I would argue the Tennessee receiver room is more talented than the Ole Miss one. Blake, for the first simple conversation point for this game, Tennessee -2.5, on FanDuel. I have to lean Tennessee as hard as possible at home, watching the soft performance that they put out there against Ole Miss.
I was wondering how long it was going to take you to come over to the dark side.
Oh, I'm pissed, dude. I'm pissed that I wasted my energy talking about Oklahoma last week. I'm pissed. Seriously, I looked stupid last week.
Here's the truth about Oklahoma that nobody wanted to get to before last week. This is why I picked Ole Miss to win. You're not a good team right now. It is the bottom line. You can't run the football effectively. John Mateer is making bad decisions, whether it's his thumb, regardless of what's going on. He's making bad decisions. By the way, defensively, you just faced the best offense that you faced all year, not named Michigan. I don't know how good you are offensively. The first real test that you got this season was in week 9. In week 9, the best team offensively, literally from a total offense standpoint, was Michigan. Joe, Michigan was 70th in the country in total offense. And when I kept looking at it last week, something just told me, I don't know if this team's any good. I don't think that they can run the football. I think this offensive line is really bad. I think you went up against an Auburn team that was fugazi. I think that you went up against a young quarterback for the first time on the road against Michigan. I think I look at you in some of the games that you played earlier, and the best team, not named Texas that you played, you lost. Or not named Michigan, you lost. Like, what are we talking about here? Tennessee can score on you, and they can run the football. And this is a Josh Heupel game that he's looking forward to in what is an elimination game for the playoffs for them. This is not going to bode well for Oklahoma, in my opinion. You're going up against a front seven in Tennessee. Joe, they went out there a couple of weeks ago against Alabama and started punching them in the mouth. And because Joey Aguilar kept turning the ball over, which is something Oklahoma is going to have to do here, it was a very big mainstay for Alabama and how they were able to separate. The bottom line here for me is if Oklahoma is not able to get at least 2 turnovers, I think this one is going to go Tennessee's way. You're going to have to force Joey Aguilar to also make bad decisions, which he's constantly done. Now, to Tennessee fans, the last time I talked about your program on the show, I told you that Joey Aguilar is who he is, and he's going to keep making bad decisions. You clipped this show, you put it on social media, and you try to make fun of it, and then look what happened. I'm going to tell you again, this Oklahoma team, although that has been bad in situations, defensively, they're not bad at all. And that secondary will force him into making bad decisions for him to turn the ball over. You're going to need to take the ball out of Joey Aguilar's hands early, and I think that if you do that and you limit him to some short, intermediate stuff, that this team can't score enough on you. That's what I think about Oklahoma. I don't know if they can go into Knoxville or to any stadium in the country, theirs included, and run the ball. I would lean Tennessee here because of the anemic stuff that we've seen with this offensive line from Oklahoma.
I do think that that's a really important key to victory here is that Aguilar does need to be cleaner. He can have He can turn the ball over once. He can't have multiple turnovers. He can't have big negative plays in this game like he's had in other instances. And he's shown that when he plays clean football, the offense flies. Like it really is dangerous. It's hard to keep up with. That receiver room is so fun to watch with Brazel, with Staley, with Matthews. Like the production that all three of those guys are over 500 yards is absolutely nuts. I think that with this game, one thing that really does not bode well for Tennessee, their secondary is really bad. And we've talked about this. They're banged up there. They're having to resort to other players. 119th in EPA per pass allowed. On top of this, we watched Boley, the Kentucky quarterback, have a really easy time producing a lot of big plays last week, like a disturbing amount. All of their big plays that they produced were through the air and taking some shots. Satania is a very explosive receiver for Oklahoma. There is a path in a world where this game stays close because they connect on a couple of big plays because this Tennessee secondary is bad. But the one thing I'd like to point out, say it again.
They're so bad in their secondary. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's very bad. This Oklahoma offense has really cooled off over the last couple of weeks. And I know that Mateer hasn't been in there for part of it. It is, at the current moment, not as good as we thought that it was. I do not know if they can keep up with Tennessee because that's basically what just happened with them against Ole Miss. They couldn't keep up. The separation was created and they couldn't keep up. Ole
Miss's defense is bad. And the problem with that is they're 110th in the country in rushing defense. And you couldn't run the ball. So as bad as this secondary is, are you going to find a way to make it sure that they look good this week like you did Ole Miss last week? I mean, you say that, and the only thing I kept thinking to myself was, Joe, this is one of the worst run defenses in Ole Miss, and they couldn't run the ball. It's a completely different thing, but I do agree with you. Satania and the guys and Burks and all the dudes out wide, they're different beasts. It's a different animal. But can John Mateer, is he healthy enough? Can he lead them and throw them into a win? At some point, this Tennessee team's going to just play with 4 or 5 in the box and say, or 5 and 6 in the box, excuse me, and say to themselves, beat us through the air then. Go right on ahead because we're not going to respect you running the football and they're going to drop people. I think the other thing is I think Tennessee's mistakes are just going to keep them in this one. Because I do think Aguilar makes also dumb decisions. And if he starts throwing the ball around in this one and it starts getting picked off, this will be close. But I just don't trust Oklahoma, man. I haven't. And listen, people have said for whatever reason that I hate Oklahoma. I can't hate you and then be right when I pick against you. Joe, name a game that I picked against Oklahoma that I've been wrong in. I picked you versus Michigan. Did I pick Michigan? Or I think it was Michigan plus the points, but I picked them to win. Okay? I told you were going to lose versus Texas. I told you were going to lose versus Ole Miss. You're a team, you want to be good, and I get it, but you have massive flaws, and those flaws keep showing up when they don't need to. And Joe, hot take, I don't know if this defense is as good as advertised.
I mean, they got exposed against Ole Miss, the first real challenging matchup that they had, and they have to play a lot better. I don't think that those numbers are really reflective of how good they are. Now, I will say that they've got some really good defensive pieces. I love our Mason Thomas. They've got 29 sacks on the year, but to your point, what version of them is the real version?
Well, that 10 of those came against Auburn.
That's actually a really good point.
10 of those came against Auburn. So, yeah, you can say that you're leading the country in sacks and you're really good there. 10 of them came against one opponent. That's not any good.
That was one game that you did pick Oklahoma and they won. Or yeah, you picked against Oklahoma and they won.
Okay, Auburn. I believe it's Auburn. Okay.
Maybe. I don't.
Well, hold on. The SEC came out and said that they screwed up calls. I get to wash in that one.
The one other thing I want to add in this, Blake, the Oklahoma offensive line's bad.
It is very bad.
It has gotten somehow progressively worse. They can't run the ball. 3.7 yards per carry average is what they have on the season. The Blaylock play where they got a safety is stuck in my head, where Uman Mielen completely tracked them down because he just blew his way through the offensive line. That to me is troubling. And as bad as Tennessee's secondary is, they have a really good pass rush to make up for it. 27 team sacks. Joshua Josephs, Dominic Bailey both have over 4 sacks and over 6 tackles for loss. I do not think that anything is a good matchup here for them. Nothing feels like a good matchup. And you're on the road. On the road in this game. It just doesn't make sense to me to assume that Oklahoma can win this.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Tennessee. What was the line again? 2.5?
2.5 was the line.
Give me the points and give me Tennessee. I'm going with Tennessee here. I just think it's going to be I think it's going to be I don't know. I don't like Oklahoma at all in it. All right.